I could still hear their laughter echoing even after I left the table. The sound followed me into the kitchen like a swarm of flies. My sister's voice, sharp, performative, rehearsed, cut through it all. Mom and Dad said you never contribute, Mia. But hey, at least you showed up tonight. And then the laughter. Everyone's. Even his. Ethan's. That was the part that stuck in my throat like a shard of glass. The sound of his laugh, low and easy, blending with my family's. The ceramic plate in my hand slipped from my fingers and shattered against the sink. For a moment no one moved. The air thickened. My mother made that disapproving hum she always made when she was embarrassed on my behalf. "Honestly, Mia," she muttered, "you're so sensitive." Sensitive. That word again. I'd been hearing it my whole life, as if caring too much, feeling too deeply, was a flaw I was born with and never learned to hide. "I'll clean it up," I whispered, not trusting my voice to do anything else. Behind me, chairs scraped, and conversation resumed, quieter now, but still threaded with the occasional laugh. I crouched down, sweeping shards of porcelain into my palm until one of them nicked me. I didn't even flinch. The sting was small compared to what was already burning inside. Ethan came up behind me. His cologne, cedarwood and smoke, hit me before his words did. "You okay?" I didn't look up. "You laughed." He hesitated. It was awkward. I didn't want to make it worse. By joining them. Bit out. He sighed. "Mia, it's your family. You know how they are." I turned then, meeting his eyes. He looked tired. Too tired for someone who claimed he was just trying to keep the peace. And maybe I would have let it go like I always did, if it weren't for the way my sister was looking at him from across the room. She was smiling. Not at the joke anymore, at him. And he looked away too quickly. Something twisted deep inside me. Dinner carried on like nothing had happened. My father talked about the new accounting software at his firm. My mother raved about my sister's promotion. And every few minutes, my name would pop up like a cautionary footnote. "Mia, are you still at that little non-profit? Mia, maybe you should move back home for a bit. Save some money. Mia, have you thought about going back to school?" Each comment landed like a stone in my stomach. I smiled, nodded, let them pile up. Ethan sat beside me, one hand on my thigh under the table, a silent attempt to ground me. But his touch didn't comfort, it made me nauseous. Because now, all I could think about was the flicker in his eyes when my sister laughed. After dinner I helped clean up, pretending the tension hadn't congealed around me like fog. My sister, Lily, leaned against the counter, scrolling through her phone. "Nice dress," she said absently, her tone honeyed with something that wasn't kindness. "Thanks. Ethan bought it for you, right? I think I saw the same one in his car the other day. He's got good taste." My hands froze mid-rinse. "You were in his car." She smiled, slow and deliberate. "He offered me a ride after Mom's birthday last week. Didn't he tell you?" My throat went dry. "He said he had a late meeting that night." "Oh." She tilted her head, mock sympathy dancing in her eyes. "Guess he must have mixed up his schedule." I could feel my pulse in my teeth. "Lily, what are you trying to say?" I shrugged. "Nothing. Just that maybe you shouldn't be so sensitive." That word again. That awful, cruel word. She brushed past me then, her perfume clinging to my hair like smoke. I stood there for what felt like hours, staring at the foamy water, watching the bubbles pop one by one. Ethan came up behind me again, wrapping his arms around my waist. "You handled that well," he murmured against my neck. I stiffened. "Handled what?" He hesitated, then said softly, "They don't mean anything by it." I turned in his arms. "Did you give Lily a ride home after Mom's birthday?" His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "Yeah. She'd been drinking. I didn't think it was a big deal." "You didn't tell me," he sighed. "Because I knew you'd take it the wrong way." "The wrong way. That's what liars always said." I forced a smile, though my insides were trembling. "You're right. I probably would've." He smiled, relieved. Kissed my forehead. Said he'd warm up the car. And that's when I knew. Not the details, not the full extent, but something inside me knew. There was a gap in the truth wide enough to fall into, and I was already halfway down. That night when we got home, he fell asleep easily. I didn't. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to the rhythmic sound of his breathing beside me. The house was dark except for the soft blue light from his phone charging on the nightstand. I shouldn't have. I know I shouldn't have. But I did. I picked up his phone and pressed his thumb against the screen. It unlocked. The messages were mundane at first. Work texts, group chats, reminders. But then I saw her name. Lily. Opened it. The thread was long, weeks long. Scrolling through felt like peeling skin. Inside jokes. Late-night messages. A photo of the same dinner table from earlier that evening, with the caption, "Your sister's face when I said she never contributes," face with tears of joy. And Lily's reply, "You're terrible. But I love it." Love. I stared at that word until the room started to spin. My pulse was so loud it drowned out everything else. I wanted to scream. To shake him awake and demand he explain, to make him see what he'd done. But instead I locked the phone, placed it back on the charger, and lay there in silence. I watched him sleep. Watched the man I loved breathe easily beside me while my entire world caved in. My sister. My boyfriend. Both laughing at me. And somehow, I still wanted him to wake up and tell me it wasn't true. The next morning I went through the motions. Coffee. Shower. Makeup. A mask painted on carefully enough to hide the bruises no one could see. Ethan left for work, kissing me lightly on the cheek as if nothing had changed. When the door closed, I sat down at the kitchen table, my phone in hand, staring at Lily's contact. Part of me wanted to confront her right away. The other part, the colder part, wanted to wait. Because revenge, I realized, was like brewing tea. It needed time. The next week I played my part perfectly. Soft voice. Easy smile. Eyes wide and forgiving. If Ethan noticed the shift in me, he didn't mention it. He was used to my silence, used to being the one who got to define what peace looked like. But I was studying him now, every breath, every blink, every lie disguised as love. I watched how often his phone lit up and how quickly he turned it face down. I noticed how he started dressing better, how his cologne changed. Subtler, newer, one Lily used to wear as perfume. And each night when he kissed me goodnight, I imagined his lips on her. My own sister. 3 nights later, Lily texted me. "Mom's hosting Sunday dinner again. Don't bail this time." I stared at the screen for a long time before typing back. Wouldn't miss it. That was the night I began my plan. At work the next day, I stayed late, even though I couldn't focus. My fingers kept typing and deleting the same email. I thought about the years I'd spent trying to earn my family's approval. Volunteering at the shelters Mom dismissed as hobbies, working extra shifts at the clinic just to pay my half of rent on time. And now, somehow, I was the one who never contributed. Maybe they were right. Maybe I hadn't contributed enough. At least not to their world. I'd spent too long playing the quiet one, the easy one. That version of me was gone now. By the time I left the office, I knew exactly what I needed to do. On Saturday, I borrowed Ethan's laptop, telling him I needed to print a report. He handed it over without hesitation, barely looking up from his phone. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for. A folder buried deep in his files, one I almost wished I hadn't opened. Inside were pictures. Some were innocent. Photos from dinners, family trips. But others weren't. Lily and Ethan, smiling, close, arms wrapped around each other. A mirror selfie from his apartment. One taken in his car, the same night he'd said he was working late. There was one message thread that froze me entirely. Lily. She's so oblivious. You could tell her straight to her face and she'd still apologize. Ethan. That's what makes her easy to keep around. My breath caught on the word easy. Like I was a thing. Placeholder. Something broke in me then. Not loudly, not dramatically, but cleanly. Like a bone resetting itself. And it came. The air felt too still. The sunlight too gentle for what I was about to do. Ethan wore a new shirt, crisp white, smelling faintly of the cologne I used to love. He asked if I was ready and I said yes. He smiled relieved and I smiled back. Because that's what liars do best. We mirror the truth until it forgets its shape. Dinner started the same way as always. My parents chatting, Lily glowing in her self-appointed spotlight. She looked beautiful, of course. She always did. Her laughter filled the room, effortless, as if she hadn't been sending late-night texts to the man sitting beside me. When dessert came out, my mother poured wine, and my father made a toast about family, about unity, love, forgiveness. I almost laughed. Then Lily leaned in, smirking. "So, Mia," she said sweetly, "how's the little non-profit life going? Still saving the world one volunteer hour at a time?" The table chuckled. Even Ethan smiled. That was when I stood up. "Actually," I said, "I've been doing something new lately." All eyes turned toward me. The air shifted. Ethan frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" I looked straight at him, then at Lily. "I started a little project, kind of like storytelling, gathering real, honest stories about betrayal, recording them, editing them, posting them online." Lily's smile faltered. "That's interesting." He nodded. "Yeah. It's amazing what people will confess when they think no one's listening." I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone, connecting it to the Bluetooth speaker I'd brought under the guise of setting a mood. Then I pressed play. The sound filled the dining room instantly, a recording, tinny and clear. Ethan's voice. "She's so easy to keep around." Lily's giggle followed. "You're terrible. But I love it." Then silence. A silence so complete it felt like the air itself had vanished. My mother's wine glass trembled. My father froze mid-breath. Ethan's face drained of color. "Mia." But I wasn't done. I clicked to the next clip. Ethan again. "She thinks family dinners mean something. I only go so her sister doesn't suspect anything." Lily. "Well, she suspects now." Then her laughter. That sound that used to haunt me. I stopped the recording. The silence stretched, sharp and unbearable. My father slammed his hand on the table. "What the hell is this?" I looked at Ethan. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. His lips moved soundlessly, like a fish gasping for air. I turned to Lily. "You were right," I said softly. "I am sensitive. I notice everything." Her face twisted, some strange mixture of anger and fear. "You set us up." "No," I said. "You set yourself up. I just hit record." Ethan tried to follow me when I left, calling my name, begging me to listen, but I didn't stop. I walked straight to the car, the night air cool against my burning skin. He caught up just as I reached the door. "Mia, please," he panted. "It didn't mean anything. She came on to me first." Turn slowly. "Do you hear yourself?" He looked desperate. "I love you. I made a mistake." "No," I said, my voice steady. "You made a choice." And then I smiled. "But don't worry, Ethan. You'll still get to tell your side." His brows furrowed. "What do you mean?" Held up my phone. "My podcast already has a few thousand listeners. You'd be surprised how many people love stories about betrayal." His eyes widened. "You didn't." "Oh, I did," I whispered. Episode 3 premieres tomorrow. The sister and the boyfriend who underestimated the sensitive one. He went pale. "You can't. Watch me." Then I got into the car and drove off, leaving him standing there under the cold porch light, small and speechless. It's been 3 months since that night. The podcast blew up faster than I expected. People devoured every word. I never named them, of course. But everyone close to us knew. Ethan quit his job after the company found out. Lily moved back home, her picture-perfect reputation in pieces. My parents tried to pretend they didn't know the details, but the silence between them says otherwise. As for me, I moved into a new apartment. Small, quiet, sunlight spilling through every corner. Sometimes I still wake up in the middle of the night, that laughter echoing faintly in my head. But now it doesn't hurt the same way. 'Cause I learned something. Betrayal doesn't break you, it reveals you. And once you've seen yourself survive the worst, you stop fearing anything less than truth. So yes, maybe I am sensitive. Sensitive enough to feel everything. And strong enough to use it.